welcome back to the channel. This is Richard Fixer. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you have any questions about the electronic repair, about the mixers, about appliances, you can just send those messages over and I will definitely respond to them. So I'll be doing a lot more electronic repairs, especially down to the board level, especially for these digital mixers. If you can eliminate buying an entire board, that's going to cost you an arm and leg when you can just change a component. I'm going to be going through all of that. There are ways and means of testing individual electronic component, and that will basically give you a better diagnosis of the situation, and also eliminating spending a lot of money on buying parts that are not needed. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of those videos. But today I have another x32 rack that's not powering up, so I'm going to show you the symptoms of this issue, and then we're going to just dive in into the repair. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so this is our x32 rack that we have right here, and just going to show you when we try to power it on what happens. All right, so all we have is the lights, the lights illuminated on the corners right here, and straight offhand we know that we have a power supply issue, and that's where we should put our focus. And mainly, as stated in previous videos, the issue with the power supply is that this mixer doesn't carry a fan in the power supply. So most times you'll find that some of the capacitors on the power supply, they will start bulging, start bursting. But sometimes they will fail by the capacitance changing and out of the tolerance value. So not all the time you're gonna see a capacitor on the power supply and it looks bulky and damaged. You have to actually use a meter to test the capacitor. So that's what we're going to go through today. So we have no screen, nothing going up, and that's because the power supply, it gets defective because it doesn't have a fan on the power supply. So this at time will overheat and cause this problem. All right, so we have the board open, so we're looking inside here, and the first thing I came across, very strange, this color capacitor. I've not seen this color capacitor inside, but also look, it's wrapped all the way. It seemed to be out of the board. I'm not sure if somebody tried to do it or it just came apart, but that's our first thing there. So just gonna disconnect these connectors here all around and remove these. Just to be very careful at times that the capacitors, they can be charged, so do your very best to discharge them, so just for your own protection. All right, so this is shaking, so I'm gonna check this out right now. Now we have the board out of its casing, as I said before. Look at this capacitor right here, dwindling all over the place. So I'm gonna just turn it around to see if somebody had previously taken it out and tried to repair it. On this capacitor, it's 330 microfarad, 400 volts. Why is this out of the board? Yep, can look at it. See that somebody tried to solder it. Somebody pulled this board. Somebody has done repair on this board before. Look, you can see signs of solder right here on the board. So basically what I'm gonna do now, this main filter capacitor came up because it wasn't soldered in properly. So I'm gonna check the microfarads using the tester. So this is supposed to be 330 microfarad. These capacitors, they don't get bad easily, right? And I realized on the board that the person was trying to fix this board. There's a lot of soldering joints there that wasn't done properly. So I'm gonna go through all of these capacitors they have on the board to make sure that they're soldered properly, then test it from there. So I have my capacitor here, my main filter capacitor. I don't think it has any charge, but I'm just gonna discharge it anyway. All right, and put in my meter leads. The negative side is denoted or indicated by this black line. So I put my black lead on that side and put my red lead on the other side and wait for it. So we actually have 314 microfarad. So this is in range. The tolerance range is good. All right, so I just put back the power board inside, solder everything that was there. And I'm gonna test to see. Possibly it won't work because you can see all the capacitors that are in there, they have not been changed because they have a mark on top of them. So let's see what happens. The person who was trying to mess with the board was just desolder stuff, and they didn't replace or test any capacitors. So we have the same issue. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go through the power supply and to find the bad culprit, the bad capacitor in the power supply. All right. The power output power should be getting here. The first spin, I think we should be getting 12 volts. These two here, 4 volts. These two grounds, another 14 volts, and I think 40 volts over here. So we're going to plug this in. Just have a cable to connect to the power input on the board, and then we're going to test some voltage. Right now we have this plugged in. Let's measure to see if we're getting any voltage near what we said. So we said that these two pin in the middle, they're grounds. So I'm going to put it on this one and this one. I'm getting 9 volts there. Okay, let me see. 5 volts there. 5. 14. Okay, all right. And then one I really want to check is this one is supposed to be 40 volts, right? I'm getting 40 volts there. 14 volts. All right, so our power supply looks like it's okay. So I'm gonna unplug it and then put it back in the power in the mixer, and then we do some tests. All right, so we have the board back into unit, plugged up, plugged in. So now this is the moment of truth to see whether or not it's gonna power up. Let me just double check connections. Everything inside here. Power supply. Alright, so let's fire it up. Alright, we see light on the screen. So I went ahead and replaced the power supply after getting the voltage. Actually, this power supply that I put in is another power supply I had, and I found the issue with that one, which was a capacitor. But I ran into some problems, still not powering up. You know what? Never assume because this unit has a power issue most of the time. That's the actual thing that happened at this time. Make sure to check, do your small checks, make sure you have correct power, and then move on for the part and replace the daughter board in there. So I'm gonna check now to see if it's coming up. All right, so I have it plugged in. All right, so we have things on the screen. All right, it powers up. So this is a learning thing for me too, because I'd assume because it has a power supply issue generally, then it was a power supply. I didn't even test the power supply, but now I realized that the daughter board was bad. So whenever you're doing this kind of troubleshooting, do not make the same mistake I made by going into the power supply when I should have checked the power from the power supply first to see whether or not it has the correct voltage. So it had a bad daughter board. All right, that's all, folks.